The eagerly awaited new planner in Microsoft 365 is now here. And in this video, we're going to talk about the great new features, the pricing, and of course, I'll give you a full demo. But before we start, just a quick intro. My name is Jonathan Edwards from Integral IT. We help businesses all over the world with the Microsoft 365. Now, before, we had Microsoft To Do to handle our personal tasks. We also had Microsoft Planner to collaborate on our business projects. Now, if Planner was a bit too basic, you could also buy Microsoft Project for the more complicated projects in your business. So, what has Microsoft done? Well, they've combined Microsoft To Do and Planner and certain aspects of Microsoft Project into one new app, and it's called just Planner. Now, at the moment, Planner is available within Microsoft Teams, but there are more changes planned during the rest of 2024. Now, just a word of note, if you love using Microsoft To Do or you love using Microsoft Planner, then these individual apps haven't gone away. They're still available for you to use. Now, in a moment, I'm going to jump onto the computer behind me and give you a full demo on Planner. But first, let's talk about pricing. Now, Microsoft To Do and Microsoft Planner in the old form was included free of charge in your Microsoft 365 business package. If you wanted to buy a product called Project for the web, you had to buy that, and that cost £5.80 per license per month. Now, that is old news. Now, the new planner continues to be free and included in your Microsoft 365 business package, but the new planner also has some premium features, and those features have been brought in through Project for the web. Now, if you want to use those premium features, you've got to buy a license, and the license is called Planner Plan 1. Now, that costs £8.20 per license per month. Now, with my maths, that's more than £5.80. But without further ado, let's jump onto the computer behind me and I will give you a full demo of the new planner. So here I am in my test tenant. My fictitious name is Fred Finance and I'm in Microsoft Teams. So where do I find the new planner? Well, I can't see it down here. So what I'll need to do is click on these three dots here where it says View More Apps. You can see that Planner is the first application listed. Now, if it's not there, you can simply type in Planner here and it should appear. I simply click on that to launch the new planner. Now, I don't want to have to go into View More Apps every time I want to open the new planner. So what I'll do from here is I'll go to the planner icon, I'll right click on it and I will pin it so it's in my menu. So let's have a look at the new planner. We've got some options down here, starting with My Day. Now, My Day comes from Microsoft To Do, and these are all the tasks that I've got to complete today. So how do these tasks get into My Day? Well, they can get into My Day from one of two reasons. Firstly, I could have added this task to My Day. I simply go onto a task and I can add it to My Day. So this option here is removing it from My Day. The second way that a task can get into My Day is if its due date is today. So you can see this task here has a due date of today's date. So it's automatically appeared in My Day. Now we've got a lot more options here, but I'm going to go through those in a moment. For now, I'm going to go over to the next tab, which is My Tasks. Now in My Tasks, along the top, there are 4 tabs. Let's start with All. Now these are simply all the tasks that I've got to complete, and they've come from a variety of different places. Where have they come from? Well, you can simply check the source field here. You can see that some of them are private tasks, some of them are flagged emails, and some of them have the name of a project plan. What I can do, I can minimize the tasks along here, so I can just look at all private tasks. Now, a private task is simply a task that I have created for myself. No one else can see it. This would typically refer back to something like Microsoft To Do, where I've created myself a personal task. I can then simply go in here and I can create a new task. And again, if I go back to All, you can see that the food shopping has appeared as a private task. Thirdly, along here, you can see Assigned to Me. Now, these tasks are tasks that have been assigned to me from a project plan. So we will get onto those in a moment. The name of the project plan is here. And finally, there's some tasks that I have flagged in my email. So again, I've got prepare marketing meeting and I've got sales report. Well, if I hop over to my mailbox, Fred Finance, you can see at the bottom, prepare marketing meeting and sales report, I have flagged both of these tasks. If I was to flag another task to appear into the planner, I can go onto here. So here's a book restaurant and I can simply flag this task like that. I can then go back to my planner and I can just refresh this and you can see that the book a restaurant has appeared here. Now what I can do here is I can open this task and I've got a lot of different options here, but you can see that this task has an attachment. So I can always just click on there and it will refer back to Outlook and it'll show me the email that I've used to create this task. So that is a handy feature. I'll just close out of here and I'll just close this task now. I'll just go back to all. Now let's go into one of these tasks to see what other options we have. So I've got one here called do food shopping. So as you can see in here, it's a part of a bucket called to do. Now that's not really relevant here. The progress of this task has not been started, but I can change it to in progress when I start that. I've then got a priority, so I can set a priority for this task, a start date, a due date, and again, if I do my shopping every Friday, for example, I can set this to repeat, so it automatically populates in my day every Friday. And I've got some notes here. Also, I can add a checklist. So again, when we're doing tasks, sometimes there are mini tasks associated with that. So I might have one here. And I might have lots of different checklists connected to this overall task. When I finish this task, I can simply click on there and that task is set to complete. So that is my tasks. Now, everything I've shown you so far has kind of been adapted from Microsoft To Do. There's not really anything new that I can show you. But now let's move on to my plans. Now, my plans really are from Microsoft Planner. But as you'll see further on in this video, there are aspects that are more advanced features that have been created from Project for the Web. So here's a list of all my plans. So you can see here, we've got the name of the plan. We've got a tab called Privacy. So here it says Only You. So this must be a personal plan, which I'll talk about in a moment. Some of them say Shared. So as the name suggests, these are shared plans. They're shared with others. At the end of here, you can see that this has been shared with a Microsoft 365 group called the Management Team. Along the top here, we can minimize our plans based on, these are all the plans that have been shared with me. And these are all the personal plans. And then I've got pin plans here. So if at any time I want to pin a plan down here, so if I go back to personal, if I want to pin a plan, I can simply click on there and that would appear here. So if I've got lots of different plans, I can put the most important pinned ones there. So now I'm on the personal plan tab. So it's a good time to talk about personal plans because personal plans are a new feature of the new planner. What happens if you've got a project going on in your life and it's just personal to you? You don't particularly want to share it with anybody, but it has got more steps than a single task. Well, in that case, you can now create a plan which is personal just to you. Now let's start to create some plans and I'll show the difference between a personal and a shared plan. To create a plan, I just go up to the top right hand corner and I click on New Plan. And then I've got a couple of options. I can create a basic plan or I can create a premium plan. Now please note the premium plan means that you have to have a Planner Plan 1 license. If your user account doesn't have that license, then this option won't appear here. You'll just see the basic plans. Plus, Microsoft have given us a little bit of a helping hand because we've got some templates down here. I can click on See All Templates and I can see all the templates available to us. Now with this top one, which is called Simple Plan, you can see that this is a basic template. If I go on to Project Management, you can see that this one is available as a basic and a premium template. So with the premium ones, we just get more options. Now we're going to talk about premium ones later in this video. For now, let's just create a simple plan from this template. Click on Use Template. And the first thing I want to do is call it something. Call this plan a name. So I'll call it something like this. And then I can add it to my pin plans. So if I select this here, this plan will appear down here. So I'll be able to easily access it. Now to create a personal plan, I'm going to leave this completely blank, add it to a group, okay? We'll talk about shared plans in a moment. And I will click on create. Now this plan will be created. So here we go. This is my Build a YouTube Channel personal plan. Now I know it's a personal plan. If I go up to the top right hand corner, you can see that there's a padlock and it says that this plan is private to me. Now what happens down the line if I want to share this plan? So this is a plan about building a YouTube channel. Perhaps down the line I want to share this with a graphic designer or a marketeer. Well, I can do that by simply clicking on the Share tab here. Now, when this pops up here, you can see that I can create a brand new Microsoft 365 group called Build a YouTube Channel. I can then, on the fly, add people to this group. Or I can add this plan to an existing group, an existing Microsoft 365 group. So, even though I've created a personal plan, it doesn't always have to stay as a personal plan. Now, I don't know if you're completely new to Planner, so I will just give you a quick look around. Planner is built on things called buckets. So Backlog here is a bucket, and within buckets, we can assign tasks. It's a little bit like Trello, if you ever used Trello. So I can scroll across here, and I can add a new bucket, or I can just simply rename one of these buckets here. But if I add a new bucket here, I could call this Test Bucket. And within that, I can add tasks very easily. So test task 1, test task 2. With each bucket, I can add tasks. And in the tasks, you can see that it's very similar to the tasks within my tasks. So different start dates, priority, etc., etc. So what we can do with Planner is we can lay our projects out very visually. We can create all the buckets and we can assign all the tasks. Now, I think it's important to mention that even though this Build a YouTube Channel plan is a personal plan, so hypothetically, all these tasks in this plan belong to me, none of these tasks will appear in my tasks, okay? So the way to get them into my tasks is you've got to assign them to yourself. So if I go, I can click on here, or I can go into the task itself, and I can go to assign, and I've got to assign it to myself. So it gives me, Fred Finance, as a suggestion, add additional tasks. I'll just put test on there so it highlights it. I'll then come out of there, and if I go into my tasks and go into all, you can see that has now appeared with the source as the YouTube channel. So you've got to assign yourself the tasks in your own personal plans. Also what I can do, I've got some options along the top here. So I've got a grid view. So you might want to see it as a grid, which is quite handy for some people. We've got a schedule in there. So it will add the tasks into a calendar based on the due date, etc. And then we can look at the charts as well. And this will just give us a summary of the status, priority, etc., etc. Okay, so if I just go back to my plans now. Now I've shown you that personal plan. If I wanted to create a shared plan from here, I would simply click on new plan. Let's call it basic plan. Call this test plan or whatever we want to call it. And then I would add it to a group from here. And you can see that I've got some groups here. So where do these groups come from? Well, in the Microsoft 365 admin, you can see under teams and groups, active teams and groups, I've created a management team and a sales team. And from within there, I can add different members. If I go down to membership, you can see that the members of these groups are here. So that makes sense to create your groups and then add your plans to the different groups, okay? So that is how you would create a shared plan. Now, everything I've shown you so far is free and included within your Microsoft 365 subscription. Hooray. But all I've really shown you is really a mashup of Microsoft To Do and Planner with a few added features. Now, one of people's biggest complaints about Planner that it wasn't advanced enough to deal with some complex projects within your business. So what Microsoft have done is they've added Project for the Web into your Planner. But remember, you have to buy additional license to use these features. But let's look at those premium features right now. Okay, let's talk about premium plans. Now, creating premium plans is the same concept as creating shared plans or personal plans. You simply go to new plan, but this time you choose premium. You call it a plan name, you can add it to pin plans, and then you can add it to a group, okay? I've already got a few premium plans here. One is the new office in London. So let's open that plan. And you can see already there's much more going on than just in the standard plans. Now, this is showing the grid format. If you've ever used Microsoft Project, this will look a lot familiar. We've got stages, we've got tasks, and we've got subtasks. Now, that isn't to say that if you prefer the board view, like in the normal plans, you can use that, and the boards are here. But as I said, if you've ever used Project, this will become familiar. Now, what we can do with each of these tasks, we can go into them, and there are more features in these pop-outs here. We can add it to a project sprint. We've got a new section called effort, so how long is this task going to take? And I can show you more about that in a moment. We can add custom fields. There's one here called risk. We can add task dependencies. Again, I'll show you more about that in a moment. We can add attachments. Also, let me just skip this a moment, but we can add goals. Again, I'll show that in a moment. But also what we can do is we can add this plan to a Teams channel. And I've gone and done that already. So if I go over to Teams, you can see in my management team, you can see here, new office in London. So this plan has been added to a team. So you can work right on the plan from within this team. Plus, you've got all the other advantages of having a team. So you can chat about it, you can work on files, you can do a lot more with this in Teams. So that's a really nice feature. Let me just go back to the plan now. So back to our project, we've got something here you might notice called add column. So we can add different columns to our project so the project view suits our need. We can add effort, we can add priority, we can do what we want. But at the top also, we've got new field. So we might just want to add a field to this column and we can pretty much add what we want. So if I click on type, we've got text, a date, a number, or a simple yes and no, or a choice. So just as a quick example, I could put here, something very basic, is the customer happy with this stage? That goes in here, and then we can change these around. You can add whatever you want just to make the project work better for you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about something called project dependencies. Now, if you're experienced in project management or you've used Microsoft Project before, then project dependencies aren't going to be anything new. But if I go over to timeline, you can see that this is the timeline of this project. So you can see all this going on here. What does that mean? Well, let's have a look at this here. Identify goals and develop strategies. We can see here that this is dependent on this task finishing. So there's no point developing strategies until we've identified our goals. So this here means it's dependent on that task. If I then look at that in the grid, so if I go on to here and scroll down to dependencies, we can see that this task here is dependent on there, and that is how it's set. Now, if I go back to timeline again, what happens if this takes a little bit longer? Well, I can move that along. But what it does, it moves the project along as well. Okay, so the dependencies catch up with it. Now let's talk a little bit about people management. If we go to the people tab. Now we've just got a couple of people in this plan here. But we can see who has what tasks. And we can see all the tasks that are still unassigned. Now we can look at it as tasks here. Or I can go to view options. And I can show the workload by hours. And this immediately gives me an idea that Ellie has 16 hours worth of work and Fred has 8 hours. So we can add more tasks to Fred. Now imagine if you've got a big project with lots of different resources added to that. This view would be very handy indeed. And finally, let's talk about something called goals. Every project needs a goal just to keep you motivated. And we can set goals for this new office in London project. So if I click on add a goal, so my goal might be called something like office move preparation. This is just an example. I can choose an end date. So when do we want to have achieved this goal? By the end of May. What I can do then is start to add tasks into here. But I've already got a load of tasks in my grid here. So what I can do is simply connect the tasks that are related to this goal. So I could choose these 4 here, or these 6, click on save, and these are added to the goal. Now, what is the status of this goal? At the moment, this goal hasn't been started, but let's pretend that we're behind on this goal. So I can set that status for this goal. I can then go back to the grid view here, and I could add the goal into my column. So if I go there, and you can see that these tasks are part of the Office Move Prep goal. What I can also do is I can go into various different tasks in here, and I can simply connect it to a goal that way. So that are planner goals. Okay, there's one last thing that I want to show you. You might have heard all the publicity about Copilot from Microsoft 365, and you can use Copilot in the new planner. Now there's a but, and it's a big but. If you want to use Copilot in Planner, you've got to buy the Project Plan 3 license, which is £24.70 per user per month. Now that license has lots and lots of different features, not just a Copilot one, but you do have to invest heavily in that license. Now let's take a very quick look on how you can use Copilot in the new planner. Okay, let's show you what Copilot in Planner can do. Let's create a plan. Now it needs to be a premium plan, and I'm just going to call this Family Holiday in Greece. Okay, I'll create that. Okay, this is now just a project, but it's a blank project, and I want Copilot to help me devise my plan. So I'll click on Copilot. I will get started. So it's going to give me some tips here, or I can add something at the bottom. So I'm going to click on Build a Plan for a family holiday in Greece. Copilot, do your thing. Okay, that's not very good. Should I make it a bit simpler? Build a plan for a family holiday maybe, and leave Greece out of it. I think this is an example how Copilot is a bun in the oven. Perhaps it's not quite ready yet for the price that you're expected to pay for it. Okay, this has come up with something. We choose a destination, set a budget. This is a decent plan. Again, a family holiday is a fairly basic plan. But if you're in business, if you're dealing with complex projects, then Copilot might be the answer to your needs. But as I've proved here, sometimes it's not always 100% reliable. There you have it. That is the new planner. Actually, I think Microsoft have made some great strides here. We've now got all our tasks in one place. Now, even the free version that is included in our Microsoft 365 subscription is pretty good. But if you want the premium features, you've got to pay a lot more for them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing you again soon.